One of my favorite topics to talk about is payroll because it can either be the biggest headache and waste of time, money, and energy, or it can be the best thing you ever outsourced, which gives you the most time, money, and energy of any aspect of how you deal with your business. Payroll is really important because it handles paying your people. You want your people to be happy because if they're happy, you're happy. They are the ones that keep the business moving and allow you not to have to do everything all by yourself. Studies show that typically business owners are spending 50% or more of their time on admin-related tasks. A big one is usually payroll. So in my opinion, this is not something you should do cheaply. You shouldn't leave it to chance. You shouldn't do it yourself. And if you are going to outsource it, don't give it to a small player. Give it to a big player that has the resources and the wherewithal to give you what you need in your business. In my opinion, ADP is the way to go. ADP stands for Automatic Data Processing. They are the largest producer of payroll in the world. They move the most money for businesses in the world, and they are who the Fortune 500 and 100 companies use most. When you outsource payroll, you're outsourcing so many aspects. The first is, how do you pay your people? You're not going to write them a check. They don't want to have to come to you to get their check, to then go to the bank and deposit it. And if you don't put the right date on the check, they can't clear it. And if it's a weekend, they don't want to deal with that. Your people are working hard for you. They need to get their money as soon as possible. So how can you do that? When you deal with a payroll company, you have a multitude of ways that you can pay your people. You could do live checks where they actually drop off the checks first thing in the morning to your business the day before payday. So that way you have them on hand to pass out at your disposal. 2, you can actually have a pay card, almost like a credit card that every employee gets. So as soon as they're paid, boom, it's on the card, kind of like a gift card. Or what most companies do is they pay their people with direct deposit. So the funds are automatically transmitted into their bank account. And with a company like ADP, you can actually allow the employee to deposit into up to 4 different bank accounts. So if I've got money for me and my husband, and money for our vacation fund, I can actually allocate how much, whether it's a dollar amount or a percentage, to put into different bank accounts. Another important aspect of paying your people is knowing how much to pay them, how much to withhold in taxes, and how to deal with any other things like garnishments and unemployment claims. These are important pieces that you don't want to be dealing with yourself. When you go on a payroll service, what they will do is they will, based on the exemptions of the employee, where they're working, and other factors like that, figure out how much needs to be withheld in federal and state taxes and anything else that needs to be withheld, like a garnishment, and figure out how much needs to be taken out of every paycheck. And they will not only withhold it, they will remit it to all the right agencies, federal and state agencies. They will deposit the net amount to the employee, and then it will be their job to calculate, reconcile, deposit, and file all these taxes. You don't want to be doing this yourself because not only are they transmitting the money to these various agencies, they're also filing the reports that show what all your employees made and how much was withheld and how much was paid to these agencies. This is a lot of work, and if you do one thing wrong, you're going to get a notice. You're going to get a slap on the wrist with an interest or penalty notice, and it's a monster that can continue to grow. Another benefit is when you are with a payroll service, and with ADP especially, they take the liability. So if something is not paid properly or filed properly, it's not on you, the business owner, it's on them. One of the biggest time wasters is when an employee says, "Can you change my exemptions? I just got married, or I had a baby, or now I'm divorced." And they want you to update their exemptions because that changes how much in taxes is withheld from their pay. That takes time. You're going to have to update their exemptions, and maybe they want to update their address. Maybe they want to update their bank accounts. These are things that take time. The more employees you have, the bigger time waster this is. So another benefit of outsourcing with ADP is they have access for the employee to go in and make these changes. So now it's not on you. At the end of the year, they can't come to you and say, Noura, you didn't do this, you didn't change this. It's on them. They have full access to go in and make any updates to their account, which will then affect the taxes being taken out of their pay. Now that we talked about paying your people, other aspects of payroll that you can actually integrate, which will again save you so much time, money, and energy, are the other aspects like HR. You need to know how to hire people properly, what forms do they need to fill out and give to you, and you need to figure out, is this an employee? Is this a contractor? And maybe you have a question that pops up that you don't know the answer to. If you don't have an HR department, this is something that would come with the service. So HR, which deals with compliance, it deals with job descriptions, it deals with an employee handbook that says what the rules are. There's a lot here. I would highly recommend that you do this because I've had companies that even went out of business because they were not compliant. Department of Labor came after them. They didn't know they were not paying their people properly. They were underpaying them. They were calculated on what they underpaid, and that bill was too big for them to pay, and they went out of business. So HR can be integrated, and that's huge. Another piece that can be integrated is time and attendance. It takes a lot of time to manually go through when someone is clocking in and out, when they're forgetting to clock out, and basically computing these hours and then putting them into the software to process payroll. You can basically have clocking of your employees, whether you're going to do a card swipe, a hand swipe, a finger swipe, a key punch code. You can pick which manner you want them to track their time, and that time can get pooled into your payroll processing. So now you don't have to have two separate systems. They can all integrate together. And this software is pretty robust. It can tell you things like trends, missed punches, things that you won't even know looking at paper that can be seen looking at reports and analysis that this software can give you. You can also integrate retirement. Retirement is big. If you have a 401k plan and you're having your employees withholding money to go into it, how are they funding their money? What are they going to invest into? And when are you going to pay those payments? If you don't pay those payments on time, there's certain time windows, you can get in a lot of trouble. And the more employees, the more money you're doing that with, the bigger the problems can be. The last piece is you can integrate insurance, business insurance and workman's comp insurance. Workman's comp deals with the people working for you, the kind of work that they're doing, and paying them what they're making, which in turn is how much you're paying for this type of insurance. Typically, insurance companies just estimate this. So at the end of the day, you get slapped with this audit, which you have to put the paperwork together for, the time and people that are needed to give these companies what they need. And then they say, by the way, you owe X because you've underpaid your policy. So another benefit is you can integrate this in with the payroll. My favorite piece about outsourcing to a company like ADP is there is a multitude of ways to process payroll. You can call it in, you can go to the website, and you can even process by their app. You can be on vacation, on the beach, and process your payroll. I think that's pretty cool. That was a lot of information. A lot of free content you just got there. And I'm gonna put a little cherry on top for you and give you something else. I have a really great partnership with ADP. I actually used to work for the company. So I'm able to give my clients and people that I work with 20% off their list pricing and free setup, which is usually another $200. So if you go to my website, nouraknowspayroll.com, you'll find more information and more details on getting this deal.